All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate it as always. Let's get this. All right. So let's get the 5x5s out of the way. You got started before I did, but all right, Dan, Angryprepper, Little John, thank you for the 5x5. Loretta, Bushpick, Ozark, Uptech, Krista, thank you for the 5x5. Darcy, Evolving Media, Teresa, Betty, Toto, thank you for the 5x5. Flown Grown, Raccoon, Sarita, Dobie, Elaine, Joseph, thank you for the 5x5. Spitfire, Salty, Groundhog, Highlander, Maria, Colt, 357, thank you for the 5x5. Patty, Trapper Bob, Gick Rhymes, David, F. U. Wall, Water Tiger, Frank, Fat Frank, thank you for the 5x5. Little John, Let's Go, Dave, Mitch, Lexi, Stans, thank you for the 5x5. Merlin, what's going on? Dan, Koala, Nancy, thank you for the 5x5. Ectate, Little John, Brian, thank you for the 5x5. Jerry, Renee, Katie, thank you for the 5x5. Fever Gold, thank you for the 5x5. William and Donovan. Sorry. Jesus. All right. And let's see. They even have commercials now on Rumble. I was unaware of that. All right. Joe 59, Prep to Adapt, Raccoon, Maria Jackson, thank you for the 5x5 on Rumble. Appreciate it. All right. Let's get on with it. They have commercials everywhere now. This is like annoying. All right. Ryan, thank you for the 5x5. Wow, thank you for the 5x5. Donovan, William, thank you for the 5x5. Raven, Fever, Be Real, first to last, thank you for the 5x5. Be Real, thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate it. You know, Be Real, it's funny you bring that up because the content creation thing, I've been doing this for probably 13 years, 14 years now, right? 13 years, excuse me. And no, 14. Yeah, 14 years I've been doing this. And I don't consider this a job. I mean, yes, you can get paid. You can get paid doing this, but I wouldn't call this a job. Let's see. When was this channel? Okay, this channel was, all right, so 13 years now. The channel was founded in March of 2012. And not this channel. This is actually the outdoor channel. The Angryprepper YouTube was created in 2012. But the outdoor channel, which this used to be the outdoor channel, was created like a year later or a few months later, whatever it was. But anyway, I wouldn't consider this a job. I mean, like, yes, you're doing research, you're getting paid, you're setting up the videos, you're taking your time doing this shit. You know, so, but I find this fun. That's why I don't consider it a job. You know, I would figure this to, it's too much of it. Like, firefighting is not a job, right? I don't consider that to be a job. It's too much fun to consider it a job. I don't know. All right, so it doesn't seem like work to me. But again, what do I know? You know, there are people who treat this as work, and maybe that's why I have certain issues with like this channel or my photography business because I don't treat it as work. Oh no. Oh no. I don't treat it as work, so I don't know. Oh no. All right, that's a side thing I just read, but yeah. So there are people that I don't, that because I don't take this, I guess, serious enough. The channel hasn't grown, and I have been focusing on it more, so it is growing. But my photography business, I realized last night when I was laying in bed, I was like, damn it. The reason why the photography business is not growing, because I'm not treating it as a business, and because I keep relying on this and my main job, is why it's not growing. So I took steps today to be more serious about my photography business, because I was treating it really seriously before 9/11. I'm sorry, before COVID, I was treating it seriously, and then I stopped because this blew up. But I'm starting to take that a lot more seriously now. So hopefully, I'll start seeing some growth in the next couple of months. But it dawned on me why my business wasn't growing. So I was putting it on the back burner. So now I'm treating everything equally to help it grow. PB runs up. I don't know what's going on. A lot of pinball conversation going on in here. Love what you do. You never work a day in your life. Oh, Laura, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it doesn't feel like work, and it hasn't felt like work in a long time. At the fire department, it was actually never felt like work. You know, it's almost like it's like an adult college dorm. The amount of ball breaking and fun shit you get to do, especially shit you get to break. You know, whether that's somebody's door or just smashing a wall in, you get a lot of frustrations out when you're in a fire. I tell you that much. If you know, like those smash houses where you go in and you break shit and you start saying like your ex's name, I hate this bitch. You know, you break a wall, sort of like that, but you know, at a fire. So there is a lot of frustration that can get out by way of by breaking shit, and it allows us to get a lot of frustration out. The job does, and it's just an overly fun job. Again, just the camaraderie and the shit you get to do is fine. Laura, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. Oh, so quick. Tomorrow, the Wednesday midweek report is going to be at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We got some fun shit to talk about. And there is a very fun update. There's a very fun update on something I spoke about 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3. And the update on it was listen, I was a little pleased to hear about the update on it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow morning, or you can watch it later in the afternoon after it's done being recorded. But yeah, when I heard this update, I was like, holy shit, that was pretty good. The person involved had it coming to them. That's all I can say. So that should be fun. I'm trying to get into more fun and darker reports. You know, like an EDP, right? Like a psych patient. We're laughing in 1 minute and crying the next kind of shit. Because there's a lot of interesting shit that's going on out there. So okay, I see a crown on my channel, but I just realized I'm on the Angry Truth account watching this. Salty dog, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Listen, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy this. I get a kick out of doing this, so I do have fun. I guess when it stops being fun, or I treat it way too business-like. And granted, guys, that you're on here, you want to get paid, right? If you're doing a YouTube channel, you want to get paid. There were some holier than thou people that got on here, were like, I'm doing this to spread the information and not get paid. I'm like, you know that you don't get paid, but YouTube's got this thing now where they're putting commercials in, whether you're monetized or not, and still getting paid for you being on YouTube, period. So why not get paid? Again, I didn't know I was able to get paid till 6 years after being on here. I found this out. I was like, you kidding me? Someone's like, yeah, you can get paid. I'm like, I can? Had no clue. So, 9/11, the reason you became a firefighter. Bayou, Louisiana Treasures? Not really. So I was on the process of becoming a firefighter. before 9/11, but they wanted us to become EMTs. So in 2000, when I signed up for this program, which was a cadet program for firefighters, they were training you how to be firefighters, and we went through different, I guess, scenarios, and we sat through, like, I guess, like fire academy training was sort of like it. We went over the ins and outs of firematics and things like that. And then at the end of that program, they said, "Oh, by the way, we want you guys to become EMTs." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And so we sort of got bamboozled into that, and we didn't really know any better. So I really wanted to be a fireman more than anything in the world. So the EMT thing caught a lot of people off guard. We were like, we gotta learn medical what? So I started watching that TV show Third Watch. I got all the books in the world. So to be an EMT, that is, I got flashcards, everything, just so that I can pass EMS school, and I did. K-Man, I was just last Sunday. It was like 11 o'clock. I was like, damn it! I was supposed to do an angry movie critique. I just got to find a small window to do a movie review and a live stream. And I was supposed to do Tron. That was supposed to be my first movie review. Actually going against all the other reviews out there that were beating it up. Right? There was also another movie that were beating up that I'm going to go see, The Running Man. Not that they were beating it up. They said Running Man's a great action film, a standalone action film, but as far as a remake goes, a lot of people didn't like it in that regard. But the problem with the Running Man movie, the current one, is that it coincides with the actual original script or book when it came out. It was supposed to take place like that. Instead, the 80s version, they made it more game-like, if you will. But they said the new version that's out now is pretty good. Anyway, I'll try to squeeze some movies in, movie reviews in, and I got to get my movie backdrop, actually. My gay movie backdrop. I got to get that in so I can start doing that. And I got to figure out a better YouTube backdrop instead of this shit. This looks very chaotic, so I got to figure it out. Anyway, tonight, guys, we are talking about something very, very interesting, and this is the digital ID teaming up with AI. Now, I hate to say this, but I didn't see the AI thing and digital ID teaming up, though it makes perfect sense. I guess because I was so hyper-focused on digital ID and AI separately, I didn't realize that they're getting digital ID to now monitor digital ID, right? So AI is monitoring that, and it's essentially going to be responsible for everything that happens next. Now, the crazy thing is, I knew that they had it in China. China's social credit scoring system is ran by AI, not an individual person sitting there watching the screen going like, no, it's AI that's watching the entire system. Their advanced AI has been out for probably 7-8 years, maybe 10 now. And I don't know how often, but let's just say every year they upgrade it and it gets better. And the crazy thing about that is, even if AI makes a mistake, from what I read, if AI makes a mistake in a social credit scoring China, they do not correct it. So if money comes out unjustly, that's what it is, because AI can never be wrong. That was a huge problem. I remember reading that a few years ago, but I didn't think that we were going to tie both AI and digital ID together. I didn't see it, though, maybe because I was blinded, or I was just wrapped into everything else. I don't know. But yeah. Yes, Amazon. There was a pretty decent sized protest in the UK over this digital ID coming, and again, they're trying to make it work related, right? They're trying to connect it to work. So they're sitting there saying, well, if you want to get a job, you need to have a digital ID. And if you have your current job, you don't need digital ID with your current job, right? So If you stay where you are, you're good to go. But once you leave that job and need something else or need another job, and they even said if you switch positions, that was a sneaky bullshit to put in there. Positions. That has nothing to do with migrants. They were essentially in England, they came out with the digital ID uh, work passport, if you will, because too many immigrants were getting jobs. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That makes no sense in the world. But nonetheless, they used the migrant crisis that they created to come out with a solution for the average citizen or national born citizen to get a digital ID. So they knew that England didn't want to buy into the digital ID. They knew this, and yet they created a problem, and that was their solution. Which, again, their solution was bizarre bullshit. Yeah, so listen, somebody mentioned the RFID chip in here a couple of times. I think the RFID chip is done. There is a new technology out there that is not RFID chip. RFID chip, for those that might not understand, it's a chip that's the size of a rice. It's like a size of a rice grain, excuse me, right? And that's the size of it in a nutshell. But from the technology that they currently are creating right now, they're not going to be using that. They're going to be using this very thin skin-like RFID technology. That's the best I can put it. But it's not RFID technology. It's similar to it, but it's not. And it's skin thin. And supposedly, it can be two ways that they're working on. One is surgically put right underneath your first layer of skin, or it gets absorbed into your skin, which I don't know which one is worse. All right, so that's two technologies that are currently being worked on in lieu of the RFID chip. Now, the RFID chip is also surgically implanted, right? It's dropped into the meaty part of your body or muscle, missing your veins and your arteries, and it's supposed to go right into the muscle, not the bone, the muscle, or fatty tissues, right? That's currently what it's supposed to be injected into. Now, what's going on in England, that protest, it's pretty interesting, but they're trying to mask it as a problem, and the migrant problem is it. And again, guys, that's probably one reason why they flooded this country. They flooded this country with migrants so that they can use digital ID as a way for them to create a solution. Well, there's so many migrants working in this country as well. We should come out with the digital ID so that we know who's American citizens and who not. Bullshit, because you're going to come out with a digital ID to differentiate American citizens from migrants, and then at some point they're just going to mesh together and it's not going to matter anymore. Yeah, so Sway, you're right. Right now, YouTube has AI running on every channel, scanning every channel. Every channel. And it's going back to my very first video on this channel, which again, I said was the outdoor channel years ago. It was the outdoor channel years ago, and now it's the current Angryprepper channel. And it went back to my first video and scanned that. So, and you can hit like the AI. There's an AI button where it lets you know what the video is about, and they're scanning all videos. So everything you said is scanned, locked. They even scan from what I was told, haven't been confirmed. They even scanned the location of where the video was filmed. I guess regarding the background. So yes, the RFID chipping thing started with the dog. Right, tracking your dog, and a lot of people were doing that, and people failed to realize that that was a test run for humans. Right, they tested it in rats, and there was a story I heard. I do not know how true it is, but they tested RFID chipping in rats. I'm not sure what city they tested it in, but they tested it in rats. They gave it to a few hundred rats, and they let them go in the city, and these were already street rats, and they injected RFIDs, and they sent them throughout the city and see if they could track them down via the RFID chip. Very interesting. That was a conspiracy theory I heard probably 10, 12 years ago, maybe more. Now, what I'm more curious about, if they updated the test to coincide in cities with the new computer systems and new technology we have today, could they do the same test, set them loose in the city, and scan them no matter where they are in the city and how deep in the city they are? Because keep in mind, some of these rats are territorial and some of them stay within their area or region or zone, right? And they're rats that go deep. So are they able to scan rats that go, 200, 300 feet into the ground in the city? That I'm more curious about. Because if they can scan those rats that deep in the city, we're screwed. Now, again, against that theory, I'm assuming that technology back then, when the rats went deeper into the ground, I'm pretty sure there was no way of them being able to track them at that point, because you have hundreds of feet of rock blocking signal. If they figure that out, we're in trouble. This new, I updated this Apple iPad. It's a bit weird. So I heard TO. Who's TO? Keep AI IS more expensive because it runs off the electrical grid. Uh, yeah, I heard that. I heard something in regards to that too, but I don't know how true that is. Med beds. Yeah, I heard about the whole consciousness cloud thing. There was actually something interesting I'm going to read tomorrow in the midweek report. Something in regards to consciousness and a parallel universe that they just found in CERN. And there was a test they ran, and they saw, in a nutshell, another universe that was parallel to us, but that universe was watching us. And every time they made an adjustment, whatever that adjustment was, they saw the universe making that adjustment. I have the whole thing to read. I thought it was pretty interesting. Sorry, I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow on the. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow on the midweek report. Sorry. So, fun fact: a new study came out about creatine. And doubling your dose of creatine helps with a lot of brain health. That being said, but it can reverse Alzheimer's and dementia. It helps with sleep, and it helps with depression. So I'm now taking around 10 to 20 grams of creatine a day. This it takes a while for it to kick in. It takes about a week or two for it to start kicking in. So you have to do it every day. But also the foods you eat that also create creatine as well will help as well. So we'll see. We'll see how I have slept pretty good the last couple of days. So I'm not sure if it's this, but I didn't take any sleeping pills currently. The small similarities. Yeah, so the increase is now 10. There's a lady that said 20. This doctor I follow, she saw a dramatic difference from 5 to 20 grams. So that's 10 in the morning, 10 at night. You choose how you want to take it. All right, all right, all right. So, where are we? 25 minutes in. All right, guys. So, there's a huge protest that was the other day in the UK against the digital ID. The England, the people in England are tired of the nonsense. And it gets even better because the digital ID, like I said, and AI are teaming up together, guys, to ruin your life for the most part. And digital ID being ran by AI, again, they had it in China. And China had it down to a science. Right? And again, the science being that AI takes over and monitors the cameras all over China in their major cities, that is, and it gets back to one headquarters. And there are people watching the screens as well, but AI for the most part is watching all of them simultaneously. Loss. Creatine doesn't mess your kidneys or your prostate up. Not this new generation of creatine that's finer. And the other thing is, if you're taking creatine, you have to drink a lot of water. A lot. And that's why a lot of people are saying be careful of creatine. People have side effects. DJ, I haven't. The only side effects I heard are people drinking too much creatine and not enough water. I've been taking creatine off and on for 20 years and never had an issue. So, and like anything else, there are other side effects to things. So you have to monitor when you're taking creatine or anything new. Monitor yourself when you're taking this, right? Don't just jump into it. But being that I don't react to creatine in that way, yeah, I up my dose. But I also upped my dose of. But I also upped my dose. I'm sorry. I also I also increase my water intake as well, if that makes sense. All right. Anyway, guys. So now the UK, they talked about the digital ID, right? And when the UK talked about the digital ID, a bank in the UK, if I'm not mistaken, the bank is called the bank. I forgot the name of the bank. I don't have it here. Of course I don't. Why would I? The bank was like Net Data or something like that. And they added a feature into the app, their banking app, that allows you to, and they talked about this a few years ago, that allowed you to monitor your carbon footprint, right? So it wasn't one bank, it was multiple banks that allowed this to happen. The name of the bank, sorry, is called NatWest, excuse me. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But anyway, in the UK, they added this feature into the bank to somewhat tie in to the current digital ID plan that the UK wants to release. Now, they're keeping it right now, guys, as a fun way to track your carbon footprint. So I don't know, right now there's no benefits to it, like there's no prizes and things like that. But right now it's just a competitive thing that they want people to do and try to get their carbon footprint down lower. So currently, as it is, the banking app, again, the name of the bank is called NatWest. It's a UK bank called NatWest. Right now, they have it as a fun game, and you log in there, and every time it's linked up to your purchase account, your checking account, whatever your debit card's connected to, it's connected to that. And every time you make a purchase, it figures out where that purchase is from and what it's for, and it puts it into this data collection thing that you can see on your phone, and it tells you, oh, you bought new sneakers. All right, that carbon footprint leaves behind, and it breaks down what damage you did to the country. Right? So, your country. It's the damage, meaning how much pollution, the amount of rubber, plastic, whatever materials you use. It breaks it down to let you know what you're doing, and then tells you what your score is as far as the carbon footprint goes. And so the less you buy, right, the World Economic Forum wants you to buy less. Which, by the way, guys, this video is going to team up with the 8 predictions, the World Economic Forum's 8 predictions for 2030. So this is going to link into that. Just so you know. So I'm trying to do it in such a way. Okay. Thought there was a job going on. Apparently, Amazon is also tracking carbon footprints now, but I don't know to what degree. But still, guys, this is the first step in the nonsense of getting us on board with the World Economic Forum's plan. Now, 2-3 years ago, I'm pretty sure it was 2-3 years ago, they talked about measuring our carbon footprint and how they were, and people talked about this on the. I mentioned it in a couple videos again a couple years ago. I don't remember which one, but a couple years ago, I talked about carbon footprint and how they were going to make it fun. They were going to make it a game. Now, at some point, they're going to probably add prizes and stuff. You get your carbon footprint down low enough, and we'll give you an Amazon card or whatever it is. And as of right now, in the UK, this is voluntary. Everything that they're doing right now, guys, is voluntary. Nothing is forcing you to do it yet. Essentially, they will force you to do it. But right now, they want to see how many people grab onto this. Now, here in the United States, we had the Real ID. Last week, I said that it was a pretty low turnout. It was. People didn't go out to get the Real ID. So they played a game with the numbers when I looked it up. 61% of Americans have the Real ID, but they had the Real ID before they knew that this was going to be a part of the digital ID society. And a lot of states were offering a free digital ID upgrade at no cost. So people were like, oh, why not? And then they signed up for it, not knowing what they were getting. So then when the United States turned around and said, well, you need to have it by May 7th, not enough U.S. citizens went ahead and got it after being told if they don't get it, they can't fly domestically. But as of right now, 61% of Americans got the Real ID. But to be fair, Americans were not aware as to what they were signing up for. And in fact, when you throw free upgrade in there, and they stated it as such, people got the upgrade because they were like, oh, because originally I was going to get the Real ID because, when I heard about this, I was like, oh, okay. And this was a few years ago here in New York City, they were giving it out. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I read into it, and I was like, nope. Right? And I opted out on it. And I just want a regular ID. I think my ID is a regular ID, my license, I think. Because what they were doing, too, is a lot of places are going to just start giving you a Real ID. So they're not going to ask you whether or not you want it. You're going to get it. And that's just it. Doctors are dying left and right from the jab. So Tiger 13 on the fuck. Tiger 13 on the Angry Truth. We're going to talk about why some of those doctors are passing away left and right and why they're keeping it quiet. There was a statement made by Michael Yeadon. A lot of you know who he is. I'm going to get into that later tonight. But what he said was very alarming. Right, Suze, exactly. A lot of people got their Real ID years ago and didn't think anything of it. But now we're starting to see where it's going, and people are like, shit. And you can't go back and get a regular ID. Like, you're locked in now. But it all translates over to putting all your information on your license and then essentially your license onto your phone, which now makes it a true form of a digital ID, or true form of digital ID, not a Real ID. And again, they say they're doing it because it's safe and it's efficient. There's no such thing as safe and efficiency on the internet. Really isn't. So Apple, guys, I said this last week, Apple is starting to allow people to upload their license and passports on their phone for digitization, right? So they're digitizing your paperwork, if you will, and letting you putting it on your phone. In the UK, they did one up. They're allowing people to digitize their birth certificates. Which, guys, anything you digitize can be manipulated in the digital world. Anything can be manipulated. Anything. There is no such thing as safety security at all. Zero. You give a hacker long enough time, they're going to sit there and figure it out. The Real ID was the groundwork for their digital ID. Yeah, James, exactly. That's what I read it. And when I read it here in New York, I was like, nope, I'm not doing that shit at all. Krista, you can put your driver's license on your phone if you have an Apple. I don't know what Google phones are doing, but yeah, I have no clue. And to activate your ID on your phone, you have to use facial recognition or the fingerprint scan. I don't know if they're doing that much anymore. But the facial recognition, so you can't just pull it up with a code. If I'm not mistaken, you have to use your face to access it. They're trying to add more security layers to it so that people can't just break into your shit. But it's stupid. You give you give a hacker enough time, they're going to be all over your shit and up your ass, right? So anyway, guys, in the UK, they're allowing the birth certificate to be added to it. Now, yes, Apple allowed their users to add driver's license or IDs to the iPhone through the Apple Wallet app. They're allowing passports as well, right? So a process that requires compatible device and is supported in participating states and region. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's nationwide, but I could be wrong. After adding the license, user presented at a selected TSA checkpoint. Businesses or participating apps by using Face ID or Touch ID for authentication. Apple allows license and IDs on iPhones for security convenience. No such thing. And privacy. No such thing. Leveraging features like biometric authentication with Face ID or Touch ID to protect personal data. More bullshit. This allows users to store and present their digital ID for identity and age verification in participating states and at selected TSA checkpoints, online and in apps without needing to unlock or hand their device over. This is the same nonsense I read they were doing over in Italy, I think. And they said the same shit. You don't have to hand over your ID, just unlock it and scan it. And there's going to be levels to this. Right now there's no levels. But I think it's Italy or maybe France or somewhere in over there. They have levels to it. They have like levels 1, 2, and 3. Again, I did a report on that a year ago or 2 years ago now about the different levels that they have. And one level just allows you to purchase things online. Another level allows you to go into state buildings like DMV or whatever it is in courthouses. And because now you're ultra verified, you buy into like level 2. And I forgot what level 3 is, like God's hand or some shit like that. So there was levels to that, and that was in some European country overseas. Right. So now, guys, keep in mind, they're telling you that the data is encrypted and the only necessary information is shared for a specific transaction, which the user must authorize. Apple stating it cannot see or store any of your data. Again, that was the same thing I reported almost a year or two ago, stating that anytime they get your information, it gets deleted automatically. And remember in the video, I said there is no way of that ever happening. I'm going to find the video and see if I can put it in the description section or in the video, in the live stream itself at 39-minute mark. I'm going to find it. But again, that was on the I think that was on the Angry Truth channel. But I'll find it. Regardless, I'll find the video. And hopefully someone will remind me to find it because I'm probably going to forget. But anyway, guys, Aaron, I'll check my email in a little bit. But yeah, guys, this is the route that they're going. Now, the whole security and privacy thing is utter nonsense. I've never heard such bullshit in my life. Now, this is Apple's excuse or reasoning. Security and privacy, encrypted data, digital ID information is encrypted and stored on your device. Keep in mind, guys, your phone is not your phone. Inside of the user agreement, right, that we all sign whenever we get a new phone, the app and the apps you use are technically not yours. Your phone is yours. If you pay it out in full, it's yours. If you don't pay it off in full and you do that monthly payment shit, then Apple actually owns your phone until you finish paying it off. That's step 1. Step 2, after you finish paying it off, now it's your phone. The phone is yours. But the apps that are running inside are not. So anything that's digitally uploaded in that app becomes theirs. Apple owns anything you put in that phone. And that's in one of their user agreements or some shit like that, right? So in theory, they can turn around and use it against you. Now, your ID is not yours anymore. So the encrypted data, that the digital information is encrypted and stored on your device, it's stored in their information center, their data center. Who the hell are they kidding? They're trying to make us believe that it's only on our phone. It's only for us. Apple has access to all of that shit because it's their device. Amazon, yes. Amazon sucks. You're right. We need our own ecosystem, decentralized. Fuck the monopolies. Yeah, we need our own world, basically. Biometric authentication. Now, this is something that, again, authentication, sorry. Users must use Face ID or Touch ID to present their ID, ensuring only the owner can access it, right? So, and that makes sense. So, like, someone steals your phone, they can have access to your phone, but now they need touch or facial scan to get to that part. So that makes a little sense. But again, they'll crack it, just a matter of time. Limited information and sharing. When presenting an ID, only the information requested for a specific transaction is shared, with the user having to authorize it. Data privacy. Here goes the heavy-handed bullshit. The heavy-handed bullshit. Apple states it cannot see when or where a user presents their ID. I can't believe people believe this shit. Anyway, or what data was presented. The data from a passport is deleted from Apple server once the digital ID is used. The amount of fuckery and nonsense in that statement alone is bizarre, that they want us to believe that they're not collecting our data, or that they haven't already collected it before this happened. And people will agree to it. People are like, but it says right here. I'm like, so everything you read, you believe? This is why, guys, the rest of us are going to be known as assholes for the rest of our lives, because we refuse to believe nonsense like this. Now, this gets better, because they talk about convenience. And I don't know how much more convenient I need my shit to be, but here we go. Convenience. Streamlined processes. Digital ID, and I shit you not, this is what it says. Digital ID can speed up tasks like going through airport security or renting a car. Renting a car, I see, because it's 2025 and it still takes an hour for those fucking crackheads to give you a car. Yet the last time I rented a car, I remember being online, it was like 45 minutes. I'm like, you guys haven't perfected this part. When we were kids, my parents would go to the Alamo car rental. And it took them easily 45 minutes to an hour to get a car. Never mind waiting online. They waited online and then they got to the front. And this was back in like 87, 85, 87. We're in 2025, 40 years later, and it's still taking forever to give you a car. Fucking crackheads that work there are unreal. And some people are like, we're not crackheads, our system is slow. Then update it. Because now I know like Hertz has a faster system where like if you're a priority member, you can just order your shit online and then you'll get a digital car and the key will be in the car, the fob will be in the car. That moves a lot faster. But outside of that, the fact that they used airport security and renting a car as their reason for streamlining a process, get the fuck out of here. Forget, I mean, like, yo, this is stupid. I never seen such stupidity. I looked at it and the first time I read it, I'm staring at it like, airport security is never going to speed up. They're always going to find a way to slow us down. And renting a car was your reasoning? Most people don't rent a car when they go on vacation. Most people don't. And it also depends on where you're going, right? But this nonsense is stupid. Anyway, convenience. Easy in-person online use. Users can hold their device near and dear to them and identity reader to present an ID in person or tap the Verify with Apple Wallet button in the app to present online. So that they're making it saying that it's easy in-person and online use so that you keep your device on you. Get the fuck out of here. Because my ID and showing you my ID took that much time. The presenting your ID, guys, at an airport, it takes all of 1 second. You take your ID out, you show it to them, they do that quick scan, and they give it back to you. Done. That takes all of a second. How much more faster you want it to be? Again, the convenience part of this is bullshit. And here goes the last convenient statement. No device unlock needed. Users do not have to unlock their device or hand it over to present their ID. I'm fine with handing my license over. Here, take it. I don't want it anyway. It's an ugly fucking picture on it to begin with. T, I don't know anything about Amazon One. Zero. I've heard you guys mention it before. I guess I'm going to look into it now, but I don't know much about Amazon One. Limited availability. This is current limitations. The feature is only available in selected U.S. states and is accepted at eligible airports, but by selected businesses and organizations. Now, yes, I did read that. I'm sorry. I stated before it was nationwide. I forgot. I read it was only in like 18 states, 11 or 18 states or something like that. And I remember New York being one of them. I think Idaho was another, California, but I can't remember what the other states were. I can probably get it now. Hold on. Yeah, give me a couple seconds. We got a couple minutes. So there's no rush. Give me a second. All right. So currently, right now, guys, the states that it's available in, which is 11 states, not 18. In the 11 states that it's available in is Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Maryland, Montana, not New York, sorry, New Mexico, not Idaho, it was Iowa, Ohio, and Puerto Rico. And they give you the same bullshit here. Usage, identity, and then they tell you how to go about it, but I'm not going to go there. So those are the states that is currently available in, and that's at selected airports in these states as well. So I would assume that it's not in every airport in these states. I'm surprised New York didn't jump on it, and I'm surprised, and California is on it. But yeah, I'm surprised New York's not on this list. But anyway, that's where it's going. The nonsense they're trying to sell us, the whole convenience and the limited use. Now, not a full replacement. The digital IDs are not a full replacement of the physical IDs and may still be needed in some situations, such as with law enforcement. That's for now. Now, your passport, again, you can load your passport onto this as well, which I find to be a tad bit strange. You lose, and the thing is, you still need your ID on you. You still need your license in case you lose your phone. You still need your passport in case you lose your phone. Now, it works the other way as well. If you lose your phone, you still have your ID on you. If you lose your ID or your passport, you still have your phone. So it can work both ways. And I have, in the past, put my license as a picture on my phone in the past. But this is now allowing you to put it into the Apple Wallet, which I will not use. Always playing around. Anyway, all right, so now the UK. We're going to talk about the UK feature that they added. Again, guys, this is happening slow. Little John says, I'm in Ohio. Yeah, listen, they allowed it to happen. One shot, one kill. Mamdani, the beauty about the people that voted for Mamdani is he's not even in an office, and all of this shit is coming out about him now. That's the craziness, and nothing's being done. His second hand, somebody he picked to help transition the current mayorship into his part of his transition team, has like all his homophobic comments and stuff like that. And not that I have an issue with any of that, but again, these are the people that voted for him because, he was all about screw Trump. He went on a screw Trump campaign. And granted, I'm not a big fan of Trump either, but the fact that that's what he based his campaign on, instead of campaigning on how I'm going to make New York better. Instead, his campaign, guys, Mamdani's campaign, was no shit campaigning on how to make New York worse. And people said, yes, I want to make New York worse. Let's have hookers and whores out in the street. Let's have drug addicts drug addicting all the time. We have heroin addicts frozen in time because I shit you not, every time I walk past a heroin addict that's like high, they're like frozen in time. and somehow they're balancing, or sometimes they're bent over. Some of them look like statues, like Medusa statues, and they're just there, not moving. You're like, how are they doing that? Wind is blowing, people hats are flying, and crackheads just chilling and shit. I'm like, what is that? So that's going to get worse. Now, all of the promises he made, every last expert is stating there's no way he can make it happen, and he's starting to admit to it a little bit at a time. So it's glorious to watch this whole nonsense fall apart. Again, he's still going to be sworn in January 1st. The only thing that's going to do him in right now, if one of his rants come out about trans and gays, because that's the only thing that matters. He could talk about black people and hating Jews. No one cares. You talk about homos and trans, they're like, we can't have this here. Imagine. You could talk about Jews and how much you hate them and all this other bullshit, and that's fine. And I get that whole rhetoric. But you talk about transgenders and psych patients and the gays, oh no, we can't have that. That's their retarded child here in New York City. New York City's retarded child that they must protect are the gays and transgenders. Everybody else can be talk shit about blacks, they don't give a fuck. Jews, who cares? Muslims, all right. But gays and trans, can't do it. Can't do it. They're like, leave my retarded children alone. That's just, here in New York. Some people find sometimes to break my balls. But yes, the popcorn. Listen, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about watching everything that he promised not coming to fruition. And I'm excited about everything he promised not happening. That's the beauty of it. But anyway, I got a couple minutes, so let's talk about the UK bank, NatWest. They're offering an optional in-app feature that calculates customers' carbon footprint based on their spending habits to help them understand and reduce their environmental impact. The tracker provides tips for making greener choices, such as eating less meat, buying secondhand clothes, and using less energy, and consumers can opt out of the feature at any time in the app's settings. How it works. The user transaction data. The tracker analyzes spending data from NatWest accounts to estimate the carbon emissions associated with the purchase. So if you go and buy too much meat, it'll let you know how much meat you bought and your environmental impact. They could seriously lick my dick from the side with this one. Like, the long way. Anyway, this is just going to get worse. And again, guys, they're trying to keep it cute and fun. They're trying to keep this cute and fun. All right, so now provide a footprint breakdown. The app shows how your spending translates into carbon footprint, often with specific examples like emission from buying a new dress versus a secondhand one. Now they want us to buy poor people clothes. They want you to look like the fucking crackheads outside. Mickey, rocking corduroy pants. Yeah, they want you to buy secondhand clothes. Now, listen, granted, there's a lot of clothes out there that maybe buying it wouldn't be a bad idea. Like secondhand clothes for kids, absolutely, because they grow out of it so fast. Now, have I ever done that? No, I would never allow myself to do it. But we do use secondhand clothes. Actually, you do. When you have enough kids, you pass clothes down on to the other kids, the smaller kids. That saves you a lot of money right there. But they're talking about a grown-ass adult using secondhand clothes. I'm like, nope, no thank you. All right, let's see. Did I read that? Provides a footprint breakdown. App shows spending, translation to common footprint, specific examples. Right. All right, so other suggestions for reduction. It gives personal recommendations on how to lower your carbon footprint, such as turning off your central heating, taking shorter showers, or switching plant-based milk alternatives. What the fuck, dude? Seriously? Oh, you bought too much meat this week. You can no longer buy meat until next week. That's what it's going to look like. You bought enough milk for the month, starting December 5th, you can buy this allotment of milk. It's going to measure everything you buy, how much of it you buy. It's going to calculate it all, and then they're going to up the ante on this volunteer or optional game. They're going to volunteer this, and they're going to volunteer this, and you're going to go into it, and they're going to sit there and play a game with you. And this game is going to see how well you do in a carbon footprint society that measures it out in real time. So if you bought too much meat, then you're cut off for whatever it is, a week or two. You bought too much milk, you bought too much bread, it's going to tell you. Then they're going to incorporate your health into this. That's the other side people are not seeing. I will guarantee you guys, I will guarantee you that this is going to incorporate your health. And at some point, your medical records are going to intertwine with your digital ID, and they're going to be like, you're a fat fuck. No more milk for you. No more candies, no more cakes. Matter of fact, no more cupcakes. We're going to put you on cockroach milk. Better yet, you're going to start eating maggot flour, and we're going to feed you maggot bread because you're so fat. Matter of fact, now that we see how fat you are, and your blood pressure is high, and your cholesterol is too high, and your salt intake is high, we're going to put you on this modified diet for a month. And this is AI telling you you're a fat fuck. Guys, it's all going to intertwine sooner or later. Now, the feature is an opt-out option. Customers who do not wish to use the tracker can easily turn it off at any given time. They go into the app settings called spending, manage my footprint, and you can turn it off. Important points before we go off the air. This is, again, the whole bank app optional bullshit. It is optional. The feature was launched in 2021 and it's not mandatory. It is not linked to digital ID, not yet. Despite claims in recent posts, Tracker is a separate opt-in feature and is not connected to any digital ID program, not yet. This is what they're trying to sell you, this nonsense, so that you can have fun with it. It is not new. The Tracker has been available for several years, though it was recently received renewed attention online. So this was what I was talking about a couple years ago. Then this was the app I was talking about. I didn't know the bank though. I didn't know it was NetWest. But again, I will find you the video where I talked about this. And it is a new feature, but this feature is closely being tied into the digital ID. They're going to up the ante. As it is now, they upped it the last few years. Because I remember reporting about this. I remember saying that they were calculating your travels. So if you bought a plane ticket to go somewhere, it calculated that. Right? If you planned a trip on a bus, a long trip on a bus, it calculated that. So it had all of that in there. It didn't mention it this time, so I don't know. But anyway, all that to say, guys, is that this thing could absolutely go sideways in a hurry. I've seen some people buy used underwears. Little John, that, I don't want to get into that, but that is a thing. A lot of OF models do that. They sell their underwears to people online. I don't know how that's a thing. I don't even know how that's a business, but it is. It's sad. Very sad. Because those chicks make a lot of money doing that shit. It's so sad. Meanwhile, the rest of us on YouTube, like pouring our heart and souls into this, and at the very least having fun with this stuff, and, channel's not growing, you're making a little bit of money, a chick could, just flash a smile. Not her body, a smile. Guys are like, man, you're hot. How much your underwears? And it's a business. There we go. It's a bizarre business, but nonetheless, it's a business. And listen, I don't knock any of it anymore, only considering that there's a lot darker shit that's going on that people are selling. We're not focused on it. They want us to focus on the creepiness of that kind of shit. But forget about that. Let's focus on the kids that are still lost in the sex trafficking. Let's focus on that. Let's not focus on the CEO who was murdered by Luigi, and people are trying to be like, that scumbag deserves life in prison, or he deserves to be executed. He deserves to be executed, but the guys that are touching kids that are getting 8 years in jail or 5 years in jail, that's okay, but he deserves to be executed? Stop the bullshit. They want us to focus on the wrong things. And the OF model shit, people like, that's disgusting. Might be. but let them do them. They're not banging, touching kids. They're not transporting bodies. They're not transporting organs and body parts. Let's stop acting like that shit is detrimental to society when we have something that's crippling society and getting worse. Missing kids are growing. Missing homeless people are growing. Missing people are growing around the world, but we're focused on OnlyFans models and their underwears. And no, I didn't buy any for myself. I don't. That's not something I would do. Say, the angry drawers. No, thank you. No, thank you. Out on that shit. Renew your driver's license for 8 years until expires. Costs more, worth it. No major change. No ID. 6 strings. That's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Anyway, with that being said, holy shit, I got to go off the air now. I will see you guys on the Angry Truth channel. Thank you for joining me tonight. I will not have a show Thursday night. I'll be at work. I might do one Saturday night for the up and down this week. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it as always. And see you guys. I might even do one tomorrow. I might do an up and down tomorrow. We'll see. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me and appreciate it as always.